Welcome back to the Elias Macko Show. Just a note on the developing story happening this morning in Quebec politics and the allegations there that we saw in the Journal de Montréal this morning about some troubling text messages in the Liberal leadership campaign. Pablo Rodriguez, the leader of the Quebec Liberals, is going to be holding a press conference this afternoon. So that's just coming down the wire that there will be a press conference with Pablo Rodriguez. Of course, yesterday we saw Marois Risky suspended. Another story here, another more chaos in the Liberal Party. Marois Risky suspended after firing her chief of staff that apparently had connections with Pablo Rodriguez. So turmoil inside the Quebec Liberal Party. There will be further news on that front when Pablo Rodriguez holds his press conference in the afternoon. Keep it locked to CJAD 800. Okay, let's switch some gears now. Protests took place in Montreal and Quebec City on Monday to denounce the end of the Quebec Experience Program. You may know it by that name, the PEC, the PEQ. Protesters say they're devastated that the immigrants will no longer be able to stay in the province under the program. They're calling for a grandfather clause, that would allow people who are already in the province to be eligible to remain under the PEQ. Quebec's immigration ministry says no to that idea, and they're instead saying that people should move towards the province's new skilled worker selection program. Let's go to Patrice Brunet, immigration lawyer. He's on the line. Patrice, welcome to the program.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. What was your reaction to the end of the PEQ program?
Flabbergasted, surprised. It was, as an immigration lawyer, it's very tough to provide advice to your clients when you wake up the next day and the advice has proven to be out of date. And the clients ask us, what happened, and we just can't explain. The PEQ program was a really, really good program. It rewarded those who studied, who made the investment to study in Quebec for a number of years with the possibility to get permanent residence, which makes sense, right? They're adapted. And it also rewarded the workers, those who had been working for at least 2 years, paying their taxes and and adapting to Quebec society for at least 2 years, being francophone, and then rewarding them with permanent residence. And so, they suspended the program last year and said it's going to be suspended until November 2025. And I didn't have a lot of hope that the PQ program would resume in November 25. And Roberge announced a couple of weeks ago that indeed it was, it was just canceled.
Now, can you maybe tell our listeners, give us some examples, the typical type of person that was going to use this program? You mentioned people that have been here and working, but do you have a couple of examples of a stereotypical person that was trying to use this PEQ?
Yeah, well, it's two main categories, either graduate students. So you can imagine a graduate student from McGill studying in engineering. He spent 3 or 4 years in Quebec paying, north of $25,000 a year for tuition fees. And he graduates. And then he's eligible for the PEQ because don't we want him to stay? So that's typical profile. For a worker, it's someone, let's say, typical girl from France comes in under the jeune professionnel. So she comes in, she gets a work permit. She can work for any employer. After a few weeks, she gets a job as executive assistant. She brings value to the employer. The employer loves her, and she works for a year, 2 years at a salary of 60, 70, 80,000, whatever. There's no restriction. And then after 2 years, she's eligible to apply for the PEC, or she used to be eligible to apply for the PEC and get a CSQ and PR. And the boss is happy because he gets to keep her executive assistant almost forever. And she's forever indebted to that employer because he gave her that first opportunity, and she continues to bring value to the company. And she's French speaking, of course.
Yeah.
So those are two stereotypical profiles of individuals who now have no clear pathway to permanent residence since the PEQ has been abolished.
So what do you, because you have Jean-François Robert saying, well, no, there is a pathway. It's called the Skilled Worker Selection Program. So what do you say to what the government is saying is on the new path?
So the PEQ was a predictable pathway. So people, on one hand, you're telling the foreigners, make an investment of a few years of working, and then predictably, you will get permanent residence. The PSTQ is a different animal. It's a different program. You have to upload your profile into a pool of other candidates. So you express your interest, and the government, at its discretion, will skim off, like cream off the top, those who have the most points whenever they want to make a draw, and for whatever points they want to make it. So if you have, let's say, 650 points, but they only send invitations to those who have 700 points and more. If you're 650, you're not going to get an invitation. You'll have to wait for the next round of invitations. So there's no predictability. And this program that has replaced the PEQ now has been in place since July, and there have been about just over 1,000 invitations. And there's like 70,000 candidates in the pool waiting.
Wow.
So what kind of predictability can you tell your clients or individuals who are waiting, and they're still on work permits, they're still here, but they're scratching in their heads.
Those 70,000, right? Those 70,000, those are people that are in the province, they are currently working, and so far just 1,000 of the 70,000 have gotten that invitation.
Correct.
Wow.
Now, those are the numbers that we have from the government. They keep their cards close, so we don't have all the numbers, but that's the information we have. Now, there's a backlog, and I trust that the government is going through the backlog now, and there will be more invitations sent out over the following months and in 2026, I hope.
Yeah.
But for the moment, anybody who is just waiting for that invitation better keep both their fingers crossed with both hands, because and there's no announcement that Robert just made to say, well, in January we're going to increase it to 2,000, 3,000 invitations. They're not giving any level of predictability.
Is this all about they want to lower the numbers? I mean, it seems pretty clear that the CAQ government wants to lower the numbers overall. Is this entirely what this is about, or is there something else you think going on?
Well, it's part of it. It's part of lowering the numbers. The lowering the numbers is also about capping the family reunification that we talked about earlier in previous discussions, you and I. It's capping it off at 10,500 a year. So I understand that the government has to manage those numbers. What I'm still waiting to see is those studies that say that the number that they have drawn at 45,000 a year is a good number. What is it based on?
Yeah.
Is it 45? Should it be 25? Or maybe should it be 75,000? But, yes, it's a question of numbers, and we have to have the ability to control our immigration, correct? But promises have been made to those people who made an investment 2, 3, or 4 years ago. They came to Quebec with ministers saying publicly that under the PEC, it's a predictable way to get permanent residence. And come study in Quebec, come work in Quebec. You are the category of people that we want to build our society on. And then we haven't even had a change of government. It's the same government. They're just changing their tune overnight.
And it's the rug has been pulled out from under them with a move like this. Patrice, I have to leave it there. I want to thank you so much for hopping on today.
Thanks, Elias. Have a great day.
You too. That's Patrice Brunet, immigration lawyer.
I'm Dylan Playfair.
And I'm Tyler Smith.
We're putting loneliness in the penalty box by talking to some of our favorite athletes about the importance of friendship.
This is Bromance.
Bromance is brought to you by Charm Diamond Centers, proudly Canadian owned and operated. Charm has been part of your love stories and bromances for over 50 years.
And you can find Bromance on the iHeartRadio network or wherever you get your podcasts.